amateurgolf.com, and I'm checking in this week with the notebook. But I've got a guest this week, my coworker Kyle Rector, who is normally the brains behind all of the cool things that we do at amateurgolf.com, the video, the social media. But Kyle did something really cool this week, so he's going to check in and tell us about it. He played the Pure Insurance Legends and Leaders Pro-Am at Monterey Peninsula Country Club last week. And so first question, of course, is you got to play Monterey Peninsula Country Club, so you have to tell us what that was like.
Wow. Well, if you can sum up Monterey Peninsula Country Club, it's like playing in a painting. It's just an immaculate golf course. We played the shore course, which is Mike Strand's last course before he died, and it's amazing. I mean, he made an amazing, like, coastal prairie, pretty wide open course. You've got beautiful cypress trees and a view of Cypress Point. It's a very special place, and I mean, not a lot of people get to play that golf course. It's a member-owned course, and it is a treat to go out and play that golf course, especially in a pro-am.
And so, of course, you had a partner, a professional partner. So you played with Mark Walker last week, so maybe not a name that at least our readers and members are very familiar with. So tell us about Mark Walker. Give us some background.
Well, I mean, I had to do my research, and on the golf course I was doing my research. I didn't know Mark Walker. I mean, I didn't know when he came up to me and introduced himself. I thought he was our other playing partner. We had a foursome. But Mark Walker is a guy that has Monday qualified 10 times on the Champions Tour, and he's only a few years in on the Champions Tour. He played on the Korn Ferry Tour for a little bit, and he's really now making a run at the Champions Tour, and this is the third time he's actually Monday qualified for the Pure Insurance, which is just alone is incredible. He qualified at Black Horse, it's Bayonet Black Horse, which is just down the street from Pebble Beach, and he won a 7-for-2 playoff. And his caddy was in our group, and his caddy said, no, he just texted me and said show up at Pebble Beach. So it's a pretty good story. But I mean, even when I started digging into more about, I mean, how do you even qualify? Monday qualified 10 times. He did it the week before at the Sanford International. He was in another 4-for-3 playoff, and he did it at the LA Challenge. He actually medaled. He shot a 7 under 65. So. If anybody knows about Monday qualifying, it's definitely Mark Walker. And I mean, and you just got to think someone who's Monday qualified that many times, just the mental fortitude of someone like that. This guy, nothing shakes him. He's very calm. He's just almost numb on the golf course. It's pretty fun to watch. Someone that just is out there, and it doesn't matter what course is in front of him, and he just goes and hits the ball and makes putts. It's pretty good.
Now, Mark Walker is the guy, we talk about amateur golf all the time, but it sounds like he didn't play much amateur golf. I mean, maybe he looked like an amateur golfer. You mentioned maybe his bag. He was just toting like a ping hooker like the rest of us,
yeah.
But not an amateur guy.
Well, he asked me about my amateurgolf.com bag, and he says, what is that? And I said, well, did you play any amateur golf? No, I went straight to I played mini tour events. So I thought that was also something interesting. I mean, he didn't start playing till like late in life. I mean, after high school, and he started playing mini tour events. So I mean, it's pretty amazing that someone actually skipped amateur golf. But that was a little bit of a shocker. But a guy like that, I mean, he's from Texas. He's still, I mean, he's got the fire to play good golf. So as far as any sponsors though, it doesn't have any major sponsors. His bag is kind of a literal mixed bag. He's got some ping stuff in there. He's he's got the old G400 in there, and I mean, we started off on a par 3 in the tournament, and I mean, he pulled out a 3-iron that looked like, I mean, I don't know what year a ping iron he was playing, but he just hit it stiff, and I go, oh my goodness, all right. There's a reason he's got these clubs, because he knows how they work, and if you look in his bag, you can tell he's got sweet spots burnt into all those irons.
Oh man. I can imagine, last week was a little different playing ground for you, but for our members and our readers, what you don't know about Kyle, and that you should know, is he's a really high-level amateur in Southern California. So, Kyle, you made the semifinals of the SCGA match play earlier this summer. A couple weeks later, flew across the country to Myrtle Beach, played in the Myrtle Beach World Am, which is a totally different experience, but second in the gross division. So you're somebody, even you played this summer with a former USGA champion, Tim Hogarth, in SCJ match play. So you're in a cool position to kind of tell us about that landscape. So I would be interested to know the thing that struck you the most, being out there in a pro-am versus what you've experienced in the high-level amateur competitions that you've played.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things that you notice when you're playing with a lot of these guys, and I mean, the one thing I noticed is both with Tim Hogarth, actually, and Mark Walker. I mean, these guys get the ball started on the right line every time, keeps them out of trouble, and it's just the putting. I mean, the putting is just incredible, and that you can tell that's something in their game they're always working on, and that makes a difference. That's why, I mean, we talked about Tim Hogarth. That's why he can continually win a match play event, because he just gets himself on the green and knows how to putt. In match play, that's how you do it. And Mark Walker, for instance, I mean, he's out there. He's got the long putter. He didn't even warm. The other thing was interesting. He didn't warm up before we played this pro-am, and we go out there. We're hoping we're gonna win. We're like, okay, let's go out and do some damage out here. And I mean, he hit his first putt probably 8 feet by the hole, and he says, well, I'll get used to him. I'll get used to him in a few holes. And next hole, he hit another one about 8 feet past. He goes, I'm never going to get used to these greens. And by the third hole, I mean, he went birdie on the next 2 holes, and I mean, almost went 3 in a row. So the putting is huge. And he's a long putter guy. He noticed I have my arm lock out there, and he goes, I just switched from arm lock. And he's like, would you show me? Like, what are your mental thoughts when you're arm locking? He's like, I couldn't get comfortable with it. So definite highlight of my golf career is having a Champions Tour player ask me my mental thoughts on arm lock putting. So it was pretty good.
That's awesome. So I think what we've taken away from this is that Mark Walker, definitely a name we have to keep an eye on for the Champions Tour, but also Kyle Rector, a name you have to keep an eye on for Southern California Amateur Golf 2020.
You're too nice, Julie. No, I think that I'm excited to have someone that I want to follow on the Champions Tour. I think everyone else should follow someone like this. I mean, this guy cares about golf. He's not out there making millions, but he's putting in as much effort as anybody else out there. I mean, just to go out and do what he's doing and continuing to play, it's awesome. So I think that's someone that everyone should follow along and check out and see how he does in the next few tournaments.
This is the great part about Champions Tour golf, is in a lot of ways there's a lot of storylines that you can follow, which is why we like the amateur game.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks, Kyle.
Thanks, Julie.
These are a thing of beauty. It's Kyle checking in for the notebook this week. Wanted to give an update on the Jaws MD5 wedges from our friends at Callaway. Put these into play for the last few weeks, and they're going to stay in my bag. I've tested the 56 and the 52. The 52's got the 10 degrees of bounce with the S grind, and the 56 with the 8 degrees of bounce and the C grind. The combo of these hand grinds with this super smooth finish just makes for a wedge that gets down and through without a problem. My favorite part of these wedges is this groove and groove design. Roger Cleveland and his team really stepped it up with this year's line of MD wedges. I'm coming from a previous MD wedge, so really seeing these new grooves gets me excited. So, it's the Jaws MD5 wedges from Callaway, and they're out now. There's 23 loft and bounce combinations and 5 grind options. You're gonna have to try them all, figure out what works best for you.
So while the South Course at Carica Park is fully operational and getting rave reviews, The folks at Greenway Golf are already working on the north course, and I'm standing on the first tee. We're going to be a very similar hole to what it was in the past, but behind me it's taking shape. The golf course is going to be different. The north course has hosted the Alameda commuters many, many, many years and will continue to do so. We're going to have 9 holes operational, so we'll be back at 36 holes, and then when the final 9 is done, the back 9, you will have 45-hole golf at Alameda North, Alameda South, and the Miff Albright course. You're going to have some of the best municipal golf in the entire nation. I've skipped it. So, Mark, you've had a chance to work with some amazing architects, but you're the guy that gets these courses built on a day-to-day basis, and you're down in the trenches. You've come up with an amazing project with Reese Jones on the south, and it's getting rave reviews, and now you're rebuilding the north. What's the difference between the two, and what are you trying to accomplish? Because the north was always a little shorter, a little kind of maybe more fun. Is it going to be harder now?
Well, it is still going to be some 700 yards shorter than the South Golf Course, but our focus is on more target golf. It sounds sort of strange because we don't have actually any true rough out there. Everything's going to be at fairway height, and so the contouring is the challenge out there. You could end up with a lie where your foot is 1.5 to 2 feet above the left or the right foot. You could end up with a side slope, an up slope, a down slope. So that's significantly different to the South Golf Course. The South is long, flat, flowing. This is much more abrupt. Obviously, it's a much smaller piece of property, so the contouring is more abrupt. We're also doing some interesting things on greens. We're doing some classic golf holes where we'll have a Redan green, we'll have a postage stamp, a Baritz green. We're going to do basically a cape hole where the water comes right up to the green and the actual green is into the pond itself. So there's going to be some fun and unique things different to the south. It's going to make the north equally as much fun, challenging, fun, enjoyable, and as I said many times to people, is that it won't be relegated to the north or the south. You'll have a choice of either playing north or south and enjoying both golf courses.